Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Houston Sports Talk back in another video today, and today we're going to be talking about the Chicago Bulls offseason plan needs to be after being eliminated last night in the play-in to the Miami Heat, the first team that was eliminated from the NBA this year that was in the play-in or playoffs. Obviously, you had the 10 teams in the West and East that, 5 each that, did not make the play-in or playoffs, but the Bulls, the first team, last night to get eliminated alongside the Sacramento Kings. Two teams that were in a big trade as well, in the trade deadline with two trades. One was in the deadline, one was before the season with DeRozan and Zach LaVine, and then this one with the Bulls. And so they, we're going to go over what they need to do this offseason. It's going to be a long offseason for the Bulls. Not only the fact that you're going to try to get a good draft pick. They're going to be in the lottery, but also Josh Giddey headed to restricted free agency. The good thing about Josh Giddey heading into free agency for this Bulls team is that the fact that, he is a restricted free agent. Any offer that is sent to Josh Giddey, the Bulls have the chance to they have the chance to match that offer, and that's something I believe they will do. Any signing sheet that he signs, with any team, the Bulls have a chance to match that offer, and so that's going to be the good thing about Josh Giddey. Josh Giddey being a restricted free agent, compared to being an unrestricted free agent. Now, there's a couple other things I think the Bulls need to think about, because the Bulls are in position this offseason to be, to be big spenders in free agency outside of re-signing Josh Giddey, the restricted free agent. You have not free agents of their own are not very, there's not a lot of big names outside of Giddey being restricted. Trey Jones is a free agent, and that should be interesting. And so same thing goes for Taylor Horton-Tucker. He actually played kind of solid in their play-in game, but I don't think they'll re-sign Taylor Horton-Tucker or make that a priority. Javon Carter is a free agent as well. I don't think there's a big need to re-sign him either, especially with some of the guard talent on this team. So, I think Trey Jones is potentially a guy you want to go after and re-sign, 25 years old, a guy they got in that Zach LaVine trade. I think they would try to make Trey Jones a part of the future. So I think re-signing Trey Jones and, re-signing Giddey to a big deal would be, your big focus on re-signing your own free agents. And then another thing I think the Bulls have to look at this offseason is offloading Nikola Vucevic. It was something they tried to do or thought about doing at the trade deadline. They got to get rid of him now. 34 years old, going to turn 35 before the season starts, or right as the season starts. Last year of his deal. Do not try to wait. This is what the Bulls have done in the past. They cannot do it again. They've tried waiting and, trading players at their deadline, at the trade deadline. And, they could have traded Zach LaVine a lot earlier, and I think they would have got a better compensation than they did. They overpriced LaVine for a long time, and they waited to the wrong time to, finally make the decision to lower their price down. And they did get some solid players back, Zach Collins, and Zach Collins is really solid, and Kevin Huerter, I thought, did a good job for this Bulls team during the regular season and his time with them. And then Trey Jones was solid when he played, but the problem was they didn't get a lot of draft compensation back in that LaVine trade, and that's something they really wanted. That's something they really wanted with DeRozan when they talked about trading him. They didn't get it. Something they've really talked about with Lonzo Ball and Nikola Vucevic is giving them draft compensation, getting draft compensation for those guys, and they haven't got it. So don't overprice with players. I feel like that's something the Chicago Bulls have done a lot in the last couple of years. Get rid of Vucevic. Here's the thing I would suggest. You got a free agent like Miles Turner headed in free agency. I don't think this is realistic, because I don't think Miles Turner leaves Indianapolis. I find that highly unlikely. But if you're Chicago, you pursue Miles Turner. You go younger at the center position than Nikola Vucevic. I think Miles Turner is much better than Vucevic. Turner. I think Vucevic is probably, I would say, a better rebounder, maybe a little bit more skilled defensively, but I think they're both skilled defensively. or both have a little issues defensively. But here's the more key thing: Turner is younger. Turner is a better scorer, and even though Vucevic is a good shooter, it's not like I'm saying he's bad at these things, but Turner is better. I mean, look, Vucevic this season shot 53%, shot 40% from three. That was actually pretty up compared to his last 3 seasons. So I had some good numbers this year. Averaged 18 and 10. Another season for Vooch where he's averaging a double-double. But you want to go look at Miles Turner and what he did this year. Miles Turner this year shot 40% from three, shot near 50% from the floor. 16 points per game, 7 rebounds per game. So, but also 2 blocks per game. Averaging over 2 blocks per game in his career, and that's playing alongside guys like and let's keep in mind Turner's averaging 16 and 7, playing next to guys like Pascal Siakam, Tyrese Halliburton, and Andrew Nembhard, playing on a really talented team. Now Vucevic on the other end is, you look at him as potentially the first or second scoring option on this Bulls team. I would say probably the second. And, meanwhile, Turner's like the third scoring guy on the Pacers. But the Pacers, they play great team basketball. So, yeah. But, I think that Turner would be a solid addition. And just because one of the reasons why is he's a little bit younger than, he's 29. He just turned 29. So he's 5. Well, if you look at it, he's like 5.5 years younger than Vucevic. So that's another thing why he would be a better addition than Vucevic. And he would also be a part of your long-term future compared to Vucevic. That's something Vucevic isn't. Vucevic being on a 1-year deal, and then Turner being a guy who, if you sign him, you're going to sign him to a multi-year deal. But the question is, does Turner want to go to Chicago to leave, Indiana? I don't see him wanting to leave Indiana with the team they have currently. The only thing I really see that's better with Vucevic right now compared to Turner is the rebounding. I think the rebounding, that's kind of a let off because I think Turner's a way weaker rebounder than Vucevic. But outside of that, I think Turner's a really solid addition for this Bulls team. But I think the only question is, how do you lure Miles Turner to a Chicago team? That'd be interesting. And where could you ship Nikola Vucevic off to, and what could you get? I think you would probably look for maybe some solid players to help off the bench, a solid player or two to help off the bench, and maybe a couple seconds. I think you target teams that could be looking to add in a center this offseason. I would look at teams like the Golden State Warriors and the Los Angeles Lakers. I think you could possibly look at the Atlanta Hawks. Clint Capella is a free agent this season, is not expected to return. I think you could look at the New Orleans Pelicans, who could potentially try to have a bounce-back season next year, and they were in need of a center. I think look at those type of teams, and there could be a lot of other teams that would have interest in Nikola Vucevic, but you could get some solid help off the bench, bench players for him. And so that's really the only thing I think this Bulls team should do. I know there's a question of the Bulls potentially getting rid of Billy Donovan, but I honestly don't think that's something they should do. Billy Donovan's a great head coach. I know the last couple of years have been tough, but if you look over the last couple of years, they've continued to lose good players over trades and free agency. So I think Billy Donovan, if next year were to be a disaster, maybe you'd think about letting him go, but this year, I don't think so. This is a young team that clearly I think is going to continue to get younger, and you should give Billy Donovan the chance to coach this young team centered around guys that are part of your future like Josh Giddey, Kobe White, Buzeles, and potentially other younger players that the Bulls like. I mean, I know Kevin Huerter's a guy that's going to be on their team next year. Trey Jones could re-sign. Who knows where they will be in the lottery this year as well. So that's all interesting things to consider. Billy Donovan needs to be a part of this team. So I think the offseason goal has to be for this Bulls team, get a good draft pick in the lottery. Might try to add some 3-point shooting in the draft. That would be key, I think, because 3-point shooting for the Bulls in that play-in game was not good, and they could add to that. And then, like I said, I think you should get rid of Vucevic. I think there are plenty of teams that would be interested in him, needing a big man. And, I would target Miles Turner in free agency, but I don't know how realistic that is of landing him. And if you can't land Turner, you might just want to keep Vucevic. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts on this Bulls offseason in the comment section, and peace out.